we need to be caught up in the spirit of forgiveness. If that's successful, that opens up the way for justice to flow.
In the Lord's Prayer it says, "Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us." And I think for the disciples hearing this from the mouth of Jesus, the disciples hearing this probably would have sounded radical, to ask the Father to forgive my sin, just I forgive everybody around me who sins against me.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Oh, it is.
And that's what God might be inviting us into this Lent as we ponder the cross. Forgiveness, it opens up the opportunity for the possibility of relationships, the possibility of reconciliation, the possibility of communion. Well, that's probably the space where God sits, because opening up that forgiveness of sin, he does the similar thing to us. He doesn't say, well, it's not fair that you are not in right relationship with me. It's not fair that you are separated and apart from me, but I offer forgiveness.
Exactly.
To make a way open for you to be in right relationship
exactly.
with me.
It's the first step, isn't it? Forgiveness opened up the way. We need to be caught up in the spirit of forgiveness. And I think that opened up, if that's successful, that opened up the way for justice to flow.
So much of reconciliation is tied up with grace and forgiveness, but also confession of sins as well.
Our forgiveness releases us.
Yes.
And it releases us, and so that we're not victimized by our own anger or guilt or torment.
Yes.
Because we've forgiven, and it releases the spirit in us to be able to reach out, like you said, for dialogue and relationship to begin.
It does allow the possibility to be free from resentment, to not necessarily carry deep down bitterness and resentment into the pathway going forward. Even politically, it's so difficult to offer forgiveness, knowing that the justice and the fairness may not be reciprocal. But in doing so, we enter into the God space.
Yeah.
We enter into God's heart and God's mind. We say, I offer forgiveness anyway, even though it might not be accepted, even though it might not be received, because I desire relationship and communion.
Yeah. Specific instances may depend upon conditions being right, but the willingness to forgive. The impact of colonisation has virtually brought about cultural genocide for Aboriginal people on the east coast of Australia, and so learning to forgive was a huge step in the preparation for my ministry. Our receiving forgiveness being dependent upon our giving forgiveness is a huge lesson that we've got to learn. The power of forgiveness is huge, and if we could exercise the power of forgiveness in Australia, we'd lower the barriers for real dialogue and negotiation to begin, spiritually, politically and economically.